Hey everyone, welcome back to another video review. Today we're going to be looking at the CNPS12X CPU cooler from Zalman. Alright, and right here we have the CPU cooler. As you can see, it looks like a monster, which is actually the comment I've gotten quite a lot on the unboxing video and on Facebook. People say this is a monster, and well, I agree, this thing is huge. And it also actually weighs a lot because of that. It weighs like 1 kilogram, which isn't, you know, a small amount of weight for a cooler. But yeah, this cooler is made out of aluminum and copper, and I think these are the heat sink fins, which are all aluminum, and then the 6 heat pipes are copper, and they're all nickel plated. As you can see, there are 3 fans in total, one here, here, and one here, and these are, by the way, lit with blue LEDs, and I'll show this a little bit later if I actually install the cooler, so you guys can see what effect that gives. Alright, and this is, by the way, the cooler installed, and as you see, there is an LED in every fan, and I'm not able to show it in the dark at the moment, but in the dark it actually just lights up the entire thing. You can definitely see it. There's more light from this blue LED than we have from the CNPS12X Max, although it's the same way of giving, the LEDs and making them light up. But yeah, that's the LEDs. Now if you have a look at the top here, you can see that there's a little bit of a logo here saying Zalman CNPS12X, and then you have the a little 12 here or something. That's an 18. I don't know why it says 18, but that's what it actually says. Then yeah, we have the fans. As you can see, this one has a little bit of a different design here. Note the I gotta take it out here. Little 3-pin power connection for the fans. So this is a 3-pin connection, not a 4-pin connection, which might have been nice, but I think that's because of the fact that there's 3 fans here. And yeah, using one 3-pin would be probably best, because if the fans get a little older, they might not be exactly the same in speed, and then if they get adjusted, the fan might make a lot of noise. Then on the bottom, as you can see, and this is actually quite epic, 6 heat pipes, as I said, and they all come together here in direct contact with the CPU, and they're all positioned closely together, which is good because that actually gives extra cooling performance. Now the fan specifications of this cooler, by the way, are actually quite nice. The maximum noise level which they produce, according to the specifications in the manual, is 24 decibels, which is actually quite nice, so I'm looking forward to that, hearing that it's actually not loud. Then also the RPM speed isn't high, so I guess that's why it isn't loud. And yeah, hopefully the fans will be quite okay, and I hope they really don't make too much noise, because you have like 3 fans here, and you're gonna expect like, oh damn, this is gonna be loud. Well, let's hope that they figured out a way to make it less loud, because probably these things have something to do with it. Now, included with the CPU cooler is a backplate. You also have some brackets, of course, for Intel and AMD. You have a tool here for installation, as well as some screws and some stickerish things for isolation stuff. You also have a case badge. Then there's a resistor for lower RPM on the fans. You have thermal grease, and this is the ZMSTG2, which we're going to use, of course, when testing the cooler. And that's it. Alright, now for the installation, we need, of course, a clean CPU. So the CPU right there has to be clean, so we can put some thermal grease on there. Anyway, first what we need to do is check, of course, the manual and see how we have to install the cooler. And first, it seems that I have to take backplate and put a couple of things on there. So you just have to take all these things out, and need these little things here. And then we need to take these little bolts and put them in the correct hole here. For me, that's the middle hole for the 1155 socket. And then we have to take one of these black covers, put it over, and basically that's how we install, well, do the first steps for the installation of the backplate. So let me finish this. Then we have to take this piece of double-sided tape and put that on the backplate. And what we don't have to do, I have put the backplate behind the motherboard. Take these little bolts and I put the little washers behind it, and then we just screw these onto the screws from the backplate. And then another step is these brackets. I have to put these on the screws here, and then I have to secure them in place using these little bolts. Alright, what I have to do now is put some thermal paste on the CPU, and then we take the CPU cooler itself, we put it on top here, and that, then we take the this little bracket, we put that in between the heatsink and the CPU, so that will go here, and we will use these screws to then put in here and put some pressure between the CPU and the heatsink, and that would be the final step. Alright, now the cooler is installed, as well as the thermal paste, of course. Now I have to take this bracket and I'm gonna put it in between there, and then I'm gonna take these little bolts which I showed earlier with the springs, or whatever it is, the spring, yeah, it's a spring, and gotta put that on top of that middle bracket there and screw that bracket, and this is kind of hard, and I gotta screw that bracket onto the other brackets, so to make that little pressure there. Alright, so that is on, and it should be, yep, this is quite heavy, so gotta make sure that it's safely attached, and I think it is. Yep. Alright, so I can start testing this now, and well, here are the results. Oh, and quickly, by the way, because I think I didn't mention it, but I have installed the cooler the other way around. So actually this is the exhaust part of the cooler, this is the intake part. Normally it should be around, normally the exhaust should be here and the intake should be here. Just saying this because I turned it around, kind of didn't really notice it, because it doesn't really matter on my test bench right there, so I didn't really think about it much, so I just thought about it now and checked it, and wanted to tell you guys that that is how I installed it. And those were the results. Now, as you saw, this was, I think, the best cooler we ever had. Only at one point it was actually not as good as the CNPS12X, which kind of surprises me that that cooler was best at, was it, full load 3.5 GHz. So a little weird in my opinion, but those were the results, same way of testing it. So yeah, let's go with that. But still, in all the other categories, it seems to be the best cooler we have had so far. Now, actually, don't think I can say much about this cooler, about the pros and cons actually, because I don't think there's much negative to say about it, and well, positive things as certainly, but not really many things about all those aspects. Like, you know, it's silent. Okay, it's silent. Nothing to say about that. It does make, well, it's not very silent. It's not the most silent cooler out there. You have more silent coolers, but for a gaming for any gaming system, you probably, of course, you're gonna use this in a gaming system. But in a gaming system, this is silent. Even in a normal system, it would be silent actually, but you can of course still hear it, and you can always use that little resistor, which is going to make quite a big difference still. If you think you hear it too much. Then, yeah, performance-wise, perfect. Quality, price quality, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to do some decent overclocking and use your CPU a lot, you know, for gaming or rendering whatnot, okay, use this cooler, and the amount of money you spend is probably worth it. Now, if you're not doing any heavy overclocking, or you know, even 4 GHz like what I do, it's not really worth it in my opinion. I do just 4 GHz because it's the benchmark I use to compare coolers. But you know, for high overclocks, I would certainly recommend this cooler. But for lower, try looking into something with a lower price, because in my opinion, this is just my opinion, of course, it is not necessary. Of course, you can just buy it for the looks as well, and that's a reason why I could buy it. So, alright. Installation, very easy. It's a lot of screwing though, but it's easy. You don't have to, you know, move your motherboard around a lot like I had to do with some Cooler Master CPU coolers. Other than that, installation was easy, and those are actually the aspects which I wanted to cover, nothing more. And I can conclude that this is actually a brilliant CPU cooler. And yeah, actually it looks nice too, by the way. Yeah, I can't forget that, it looks nice. Looks nice, cools good, pretty easy installation, although price quality depends on what you want to do. Just if you want a very high overclock, you want a very good cooler, and you want a nice looking cooler as well, certainly get this one. If you're doing a low overclock, look into something cheaper perhaps. Anyway, that was I think it. If you want to have a look at the full list of pros and cons, go to our website at www.CCReviews.eu, and that's in the description box below anyway, so you can actually click there in the full pros and cons link. You can always ask questions here or also on the website. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, thanks to Zalman and Space Distributions to sponsor us for this review, and I'll see you guys in the next video.